In this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to use and customize Shopify's free theme, Horizon. We're going to cover how to configure your theme settings, how to add your colors and logos, how to edit the header and the navigation, how to update the homepage, how to use sections and blocks, how to use the built-in AI builder, how to edit the footer, how to set up a collection page, customizing your product pages. I'm going to show you how to edit page templates. I'm going to show you how to use theme templates. And then finally, we're going to publish your theme. So by the end of the video, you're going to be a master of the Horizon theme. But I'm going to do something a little bit different for this YouTube tutorial. You see, usually when we watch a tutorial, it's a one-way street. The teacher teaches you, and sometimes what they're teaching you doesn't always work properly. That's where the comments come in. I'm going to personally monitor the comments and respond to any questions or queries that you have about this tutorial. I'm going to answer them to help you get the results on your Shopify store. Let's jump into Shopify now and get started. So you need to have the Horizon theme installed. I'm going to click Customize. This is going to take you to a pretty standard Shopify customizer. Over on the left, we've got sections, we've got theme settings, and we've got app embeds. I'm going to first go to the theme settings. This is where we want to add our logo and our color palette. So to add your logo, we're going to click Logo and Favicon, and we're going to upload our logo by clicking Select here. We've got a logo here, and we're going to click Done. Now it gives you the option to upload another logo, which is your inverse logo. This is uploading a logo that's of a different color. So if you're on a dark background, you can have a light logo, and it gives you this option throughout the theme. So I've created an alternative logo which has white writing for mine. I'm going to upload that there. The next option is to upload a favicon. Now, a favicon is this little icon that we see in the tabs here. It's pretty important to put this in here. If you don't have one, you can search Google for favicon generator, and it's going to help you do one there. Now, if you don't have one, you can go to Google and type in favicon generator, and you should be able to get one made. So I'm going to upload my one here, a little picture of an alpaca, and I'm going to close that one in there. So now we can see my logo here, and the favicon will show when we publish the theme. Now let's click save while we're going, just so we don't lose any of the stuff that we're doing. Let's go into the next setting, which is colors. We're going to click colors here, and what we can see is we've got these different color schemes. So in here, you can actually go through and edit different parts of the theme based on a scheme. So think of a color scheme as sort of a collection of colors that work together. And we can apply that collection of colors to different parts of your theme. That'll become a little bit more apparent as we go through the theme, but you can use different schemes for different parts of the theme to keep things feeling consistent. So the way it works is each color is related to a certain element on the page. Now, if I click text here, I can actually change this to a different color, and we can see that anywhere that is using this scheme, the color of that text will change, okay? Same applies to any other elements within this color scheme, such as buttons, such as, inputs and variants and all the sorts of things across it. You can effectively go through and edit it. Now we can edit these schemes whilst we're in customizing the theme. It's just really good to know that you can do this here. Now I want to go back to the color that I had. So I'm going to either click in here and it shows you my currently used, and I click in there. Now it's important to use sort of the recently selected so that you can keep your color palettes consistent across everywhere rather than having sort of these, you can see there's two different tones of color there. All right, so that's the color schemes. Now we've got typography. This is where we change the fonts that are on our store, and we can change body fonts, heading fonts, etc. So any font that we want, we just click in here. We're going to see a preview of the font, and then we can see where it changes throughout the page. So if I wanted to change the font for our body, we would click here, and I could change this to say this one here. And what we'd see is the fonts on the right-hand side are going to change. So we can see this is all changed to this one here. And that's going to change across the entire site. So that's how we change our fonts. Let's keep going down and seeing what other options that we have. So we've got page layout here. We can change the way the page is laid out. We've got animations. We've basically got lots of these different settings. Now the main ones that you really need to know about are the ones we've already covered. One thing I just want you to realize is building out a theme is all about testing and learning and seeing what works and what doesn't work. You're never going to break anything. Nothing's going to crash. You're not going to make any mistakes. There is an undo button. So what I urge you to do is go through the theme and have a play around with all these settings, get familiar with it, get to know it. And if you don't like something, what you can do is you can just press the undo button and it's going to change it. So I'm going to undo this and see it's changed the color back. I'm going to undo it again. And we can see it's changed. I want to get it back to blue color. Let's go again. Let's see where it gets there. All right, it's gone back to that blue color. So don't think that anything's going to break. You want to test and learn and see what it looks like. So that's how you set up your theme settings. So now let's start actually editing the template itself. We're going to click back here and go to sections. And what we're going to do is we're going to start with the homepage template. Now, to know which template you're working on, you can see it up here. We can see we're working on the homepage. Now, we can work on multiple different templates. We're going to go through this further on in the tutorial. We're going to edit the products and collections, and we're going to edit the pages as well. But for now, we're going to work on the homepage. Now, the way every template works is it's broken up into 3 sections. The first one is the header. The second one is the template itself, and the third one is the footer. Now, the header and the footer, any changes that you make to that are going to apply to the entire store, right? So if you change the color of the header, every page on your store is going to have a different color header. If you change anything in the footer, same thing's going to happen. It's going to change across the entire store. Now, the template, however, only changes on the template that you're editing. So whether it's the homepage or any of the other templates, it's only going to change it for that one. So really what we want to be doing is working within the template when we're changing page-specific things, and we want to work in the header and the footer when we do site-wide specific things. Let's get started with editing the header. So as you can see here, we've got this part here, and every part of this theme is broken up into things called sections or blocks. The top one here is a section, and underneath it are the blocks. So a section is made up of multiple blocks. So this is the header section here, and these are the blocks that go within it. So the header has its own customization that we can do. So if I click header here, over on the right-hand side, you can see there's customization, which applies across the entire section. And we can see that we can determine where we want the logo, we can determine where we want the menu, we can determine whether we want search icons, localization. We can effectively set up everything across this section here. So let's just say we want to change the menu position. Now, for Horizon in particular, it has a thing which is called a scrolling menu. And we can see that the logo is there in the middle. So I just scroll down a little bit there. Let's just say I want that logo to be on the left-hand side. Okay, it now moves it to the left just by clicking left. If I want it to be on the right, same thing happens. Now, the same thing with the menu. We can move that around as well. We can maybe put that in the center. Maybe we can put the logo in the center. And what we can do is we can change the row. And now we've got the logo and the menu items under there. So that looks pretty neat. One thing I also like to do at this stage is have a look at the mobile version. The majority of your users are going to actually use mobile. So we want to make sure it looks just as good on mobile as it actually does on desktop. Okay. So that looks great. So we'll just say we want to make some changes to sort of this logo section. We can click logo here. And now the way it works is we click logo, and on the right-hand side, we've got customizations for the block basically that we are working on. So what we can see here is we've got this logo here in this main banner, which we'll talk about in a minute, but we can see it's hidden from the top. Now, what if we wanted to get rid of that, which we probably will, because I don't really like it there. We can turn that off. And it brings this logo back on, and then we're going to go and remove this later. So I might leave the logo on there so that when someone lands, it's pretty consistent with the way the site scrolls. And we can also change the height of the logo on desktop. So we can either make it smaller, which I don't think we would do that, or we can make it bigger. That actually looks pretty good. We can either drag it or we can type it in if we want. And then if we look on the mobile, let's see what it looks like. It actually doesn't look too bad on the mobile, but let's just say I want to make it a little bit bigger on mobile. We could also drag it here. Okay, so that's looking pretty good. Let's have a look at the menu. Now we can go and edit this here. Go back to desktop, click the menu, and we can see on the right-hand side, we've got some options here. Now let's just say we want to change these menu items, right? There's no way here to actually change it. The only thing it does is it says, well, what menu are you actually using? So we can either replace it with a new one, or we can edit this existing one. So let's click edit. It's going to take you to a new tab here, and it's going to bring you to the main menu. And we can see we've got home, we've got contact, and we've got the product. We can drag this down. And, that moves it around, or we can add a new menu item. So we could do alpaca cheese. We could choose this. We can go to basically point to anything in the store. Go to products. We'll choose alpaca cheese. Might add a new menu item, and it might be all products. We can click this one in here. Click products. Let's click all products. Okay. Click save. So this is the new menu. Might bring contact to the bottom, and we click save. All right. Let's go back to our theme, and we should see if we save this one here, it should update that menu for us when it refreshes. Yeah, look at that. So we've got home, alpaca milk, alpaca cheese, all products, and the contact. Cool. So that's how we update the navigation. Now that was the sort of the pre-built blocks in there, but you can actually add your own blocks. So let's just say we wanted to add an announcement bar to this theme, something like free shipping or some sort of site-wide announcement. We can do that directly in here by adding a new block. So if we go over to the left, what we're going to see is we've got this add section. Let's click add there, and we can choose something like an announcement bar. Let's grab that, and we can see the announcement bar pop up here. So we can drag that around however we want. We can have it at the top, we can move it around and up and down, all those sorts of things. And we can go and click into there, and we click the block below it, and we can change whatever text that we want to have in here. So we can have free shipping over $100 as an example. And then we can link to somewhere if we like. So let's just say we want to link it to a contact page. You probably wouldn't do that for this one, but that means that when someone clicks this, it's going to link it to the page. We can then change the typography. We can change anything we want the way it looks there. Now, let's just say I want to change this color because I'm not really thinking that blue stands out. So I've clicked in there. That also highlights the section itself. And what we can see is there's a color scheme associated with that. So this one's actually scheme 4. So if you remember, we were looking at scheme 1 before. If we go to scheme 4, we can actually click edit in here. We could probably change this background. So I want this to be something that maybe pops a little bit more, maybe make it a little bit more bright. Okay. And now that one should stand out, and we can see it's nice, bright and yellow, and that it has applied there. Now remember, this is going to apply to every single page on your store. So that's how we would edit the header. And you can click, and you can always click in and see what other sections there are in here if you want to put some different things in there. All right, so that's editing the header, the navigation, your logo, and sort of customizing the overall look and feel. But let's get into editing the homepage. Now just make sure that you're on the homepage section here. And what we're going to do is we're going to start playing around with this template area here. This works exactly the same as the header and the footer section, but the difference is this only affects what we're looking at here. Now, if you remember, I talked about this logo. I don't really like this being here. So this section here is called the hero section. And within the hero section, we've got these blocks. We can do the site-wide. We can do the section-wide styling, but I'm actually going to go through and I'm going to delete this logo here to get that out, okay? I don't really want that logo in there. But now this looks a little bit bare. So what we're going to do is we're going to add a new block in here. So we click the little plus here. And what we can see is because we're adding a block within a section on a template, we have a lot more options here. So we've got buttons, we've got headings, we've got logos, and these are blocks that are built into this hero section in itself. So not all sections have the same blocks within it. But what I want to do here is I'm going to add a heading, and I'm going to also add a button, and I'm going to also add, actually that's all I want, a heading and a button. All right. So I'm going to click this heading here. And rather than new arrivals, it's going to be shop alpaca milk. Okay, that one there. And then I'm going to change the button and I'm going to write shop now. And I'm going to point this to be the alpaca milk one. Awesome. Now let's just say I want to change the color of this button because I don't really like it. We can actually go back to hero here. And we can go and we can change the scheme again. Okay, so we can edit the scheme. And I can go down and I can change the background of the button. So let's just say I want this to be a blue button and I want the text to be white. And then I just close that out there. Okay, cool. So we can see we've changed the button there now, but I don't really like the layout of this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have a look and see what options we've got here. If we scroll down, we can change the layout. So I'm going to click vertical here. You can see it's nice and centered here. Shop alpaca milk. Now I might change that text and bring it up. Okay. Love that. And then shop now. All right. So we can see this is starting to look really, really, really cool. All right. Now, what if I wanted to change this background image? Let's go up a little bit here. We can see we've got media here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click select. I'm going to choose an image to upload to here. And let's see how this looks. So I've got this alpaca at the snow. So that is really good. And now people know that it's alpaca milk. But what we can see is now this text is white and it's not looking that great. So what we can actually do is we click this section again and we're going to go back and I'm actually going to change this overlay color. I might change it to this blue here. And what that does is now add this beautiful sort of gradient here. So that's the overlay color. So that looks really nice and really neat. So now we can not only read the text, we can see the image and it gives this sort of like premium feel about it. All right, so that is sort of the sections that are already there. But what if we want to add new sections? This is where it comes in really cool. So we click add section and we can see we've got all these sections here. So we've already played around the hero one, but you can see if you hover over each of these, there's all these different sort of sections. We've got marquee, we've got different showcases, we can embed collections, we can embed forms. So I'm going to add a marquee in here. I think that one's going to look pretty good. And what we can do is we can click into this marquee and we can change the text. This is some text, which looks really good. And then we can add another bit of text in there if we like. And we choose another bit. This is some more text. Okay. So we've got, this is some text and this is some more text. So we can start to alternate different text in there if we like. So you could do things like free shipping, organic or organic milk, whatever you want to call in there. All right, so that's starting to look really, really cool. All right, let's just say we want to add some more things in here. I'm going to click add a section, and we're going to maybe put some frequently asked questions in here. Let's do that. We'll do frequently asked questions. And what we can do is, if we don't like where it is in the layout, which I think this might look better sort of below some products here, we can just drag it down. You can see it pops down sort of below there. So we click in there, and what we can do, same as before, over on the left, we just go through and we can edit any of the sort of questions here. This is an answer, okay? And that enters that there, okay? If we want to change that to what is the return policy, what is the question? All right, that makes sense. Okay, cool. So as before, you can't really break anything. So this is the part where you start to play. It's a bit like playing with a Lego. You've got these Lego blocks you can play with. They can do lots of cool things. You can just drag them in and just start to manipulate them however you want. But that's not the coolest thing. One real cool thing that I love about this Horizon theme is the ability to generate blocks with AI. Let me show you what I mean. So let's hover over this one here. We're going to click plus, and we're going to see this thing here, which is called generate. So let's just say under this hero block, we want to create some sort of section that does not exist in Horizon. We're going to click generate. And what I want to do is, so let's just say I want to create some sort of comparison chart. I'm going to say create a comparison chart that shows the difference between alpaca milk, almond milk, goat milk, and cow milk. All right. So we'll do that first. I'll make sure my spelling's right, and we'll click go. And what we can see here is that it is automatically creating the code for us. Okay, it's doing all the things that we want. So you can actually see it writing code in real time. It's pretty epic. So if I look down, I can see it doing that, right? How weird. Okay, I know that looks quite. So if I look down, I can see that it's actually doing that. Okay, so that takes a few minutes to sort of go and write off and go do the code. So that's going to take a couple of minutes to generate the code. While it's doing that, we can still go in and edit the theme. So while we're waiting for that, let's pop over to the left, and we're going to go through and have a look at the footer. The footer operates very much like the header, and everything we apply here will apply to the entire site. So same thing is, we can go through and we can adjust things in here. We can click the little pluses and we can add whatever blocks we want. But what you'll see is that, again, there's different blocks in here that we can use. So we've got menu items in here. We've got email signups. We've got little payment icons. So I'm going to add in the payment icons. I think that's a really good one to put in here. And we can see they're there. Now they're not in the spot that I want them, so I'm going to bring them down here. Okay, so we can pop them down there. The other thing that's really cool in here is these social media links. So if you want to add in your own social media links, we can click in here. We can add the link to whatever store you want it to, whatever thing you want it to be. Oh, actually, I've been talking. It's actually built our milk comparison chart while we're talking. All right, let's just finish off what we're doing, and then I'll go back to the milk comparison chart. All right, so we can go in and we can add in all the links. We click the link and we can add it in here, and you can see that there's all these sort of different social links in here. But what we can see is it's actually turned off. So even though they've written in here, we can't see them. So these little eyes here allow you to turn things off and on in the theme. And now we can see that they have gone in here. Now, the cool thing about this is you can see that it's actually applied to the color scheme that we've used in the past. And that color scheme sits right up the top of the footer. So if you do want to change sort of any of the colors of anything like this, you're going to need to apply a different color scheme to it. So anything that you want to change on here, we're just going to click through and we can change it. So let's just say you want to remove the powered by Shopify copyright. We can turn that off, and it moves the privacy policy in there. We can do anything we want. But I'm a bit excited because the AI has finished its comparison chart. So let's go and have a look and see what's happening there. So let's scroll up and we can see this cool comparison chart. It's called the Block the Milk comparison chart. And over on the right hand side, it has given us a whole heap of different settings. So this is really, really awesome. Not only that, it's done some highlights on some things. So it's put everything in there, but it's not necessarily given us the ability to change things. And I was thinking I'd like to be able to put little icons in here. So what we can do now is we can actually iterate on this. So we can do some follow-up instructions. I would like to be able to edit the text as well. Also text in the cells, as well as upload icons for the headers. Okay, so we can just basically continue to iterate what we want to have here. So I'm going to click go on that. All right, we can see it's gone back to work to do its thing here. So while it's doing that, let's just double check the page and see if we're happy with it. Okay, we've got this free shipping. We're happy with this icon. We're happy with this. Okay, we like this layout here. We've got frequently asked questions. Let's have a look at a few other sections that we can cut in. So we can just press let's either add a block, but we want to actually add a section in. Best way to add a section, to be honest, is find the place where you want to add a section. We're going to add one here. And this time we're going to choose something more fun. Let's do a product list carousel. Okay, so we can add products in here and we can change this in. So this one says featured products. We can either choose a collection, we can create a collection. I'm going to actually choose this automated one and see what it comes up with. So it's brought in the snowboards for us. So instead of it being called automated collection, we can give it its own title, snowboard collection, as an example. So this is a really good insight because over on the right hand side, we can edit any sort of text that we want. We can insert any variables that we want. We can change anything that we want here. Okay, so that is really neat. All right, this is looking pretty good. Now that block is still generating, so we're going to let it do that now. So while it's doing that, I'm going to start setting up a collection page. Now, a collection page is a template on its own, and collections is basically sort of like a folder that holds all your products. And you can create thousands of collections, as many collections as you like. But what we want to do is we want to really customize those pages and use sort of the blocks and the sections to really customize this collections page. So let's jump in and I'll show you how we do that. So if we pop up the top here, we're going to choose collections, and we can see that we have this template here, which is called the default collection. And by default has brought up this automated collection that we're looking at before. But the way collections work is pretty much the same as the way the homepage works. We've got our header, which we know that we've already designed, and that's applying to the page. But this area here, we have the template. So we can see we've got this section here, which has the text. It has some additional text, which isn't filled in because there's no description in there. I'll talk about that in a second. And then we have the collection itself, which is the collection of products. So if you come to here and you see that your section has a title but no text, that means that there's no description text against it. So we're going to click through and click edit value. And what that's going to do is take you to that collection, and we can see that there's no description under here. Now, from a search engine optimization perspective, it's important to put some text in here. Now, if you haven't seen it from me yet, I have one of the highest ranking videos on YouTube about editing your Shopify store for SEO. So you can check that out here. And I talk just about how to create the perfect description to rank in search engines. So you want to make sure that you put text in here. This is where the SEO description would go. And if we click save to that, and we head back to the store, and I'm just going to click save, and we can see this now comes through. So any collection that you have needs to have a description in it for it to show up in here. All right, so we can see we've got this section, we've got the text, we've got the collection here. Now, the collection operates very similar. We've got our section on the right-hand side. We've got all the different settings for the section. Now, we can either have it as a grid. We could have it as a different layout like this, which is pretty cool. Actually, I don't mind this little layout. We can see what it looks like on mobile. Mobile just looks like a grid, to be honest. We can change it to large, so we can have the big images. Depending on how many products you have in your store is sort of the layout that you might want to have. All right, mobile card size might be a bit smaller. Cool, so we can start to play around with the way you want this to look. So that's sort of the overall collection. If we then click the filtering and sorting, and this is a pretty important thing here. A lot of people forget about filtering and sorting, and it's really, really important for people to be able to find the products on your store. So we're going to click filtering and sorting, and we can change the way sort of the direction that happens. So if we click vertical, what you're going to see is it puts it down here on the side. This is really useful if you've got a large product collection and you want people to adjust it. Or we can make it horizontal. We can make it full. We can make it page. We can do lots of different things here. Same as the uppercase labels, all that sort of stuff. And you can just sort of go through and start changing it. And you can just go through and start sort of editing whatever you want in there. All right, so let's go now into the product card. Now this product card is, we sometimes call it like the thumbnails, or product card is what Shopify calls it. But product card is effectively, how's this product going to look on the page? So again, this is made up of multiple little blocks. So we've got the product image, and then we've got a group of blocks underneath, which is the product title, the price, and any swatches that you might have against this product here for this one. Now we don't have any swatches, so we can delete it. But remember, we can also move this up. So let's just say we want the price to be up there. We can put it. Let's just say we want to change the size of the price. We could also do that. We could maybe make it a bigger heading, right? Makes it a bigger price. If we want it to be, a different color, we could change that as well. So it's really, really cool, all the things we can do. So let's go and see what other blocks we have under here. We hover over it, we get the little plus, and let's have a look. So we've got the AI generated comparison chart we could put under there. We've got buttons, so we could add a button under there. Let's have a look. Oh, this is cool. We have got, let's have a look. We've also got icons, so that would be quite good. We've got image, we've got logo, we've got text. I like the text one actually. Could do something there. And let me just change this layout because this layout's annoying me. I'm going to change the layout of the collection. I actually don't like the editorial anymore. I'm going to go back here. This feels a bit better. All right, that feels better. Now, I think I've actually added a little too much to this one. So as you can see, this is not looking that great at all. I'm just going to click, card size small, see if that makes any difference. What is going on? What is this button here? This is not looking good. So as you can see, I have made whoopsie. I'm going to start deleting some stuff because it doesn't look very good. So I'm just undoing all the things I've done to get back to normal. All right, this is looking a little better. I'm actually going to go back even further. I'm going to change that. Okay, we're sort of where we are now. So you can see we even made mistakes as well. Those undo buttons are super good. All right, let's go back. All right, I'm going to still change it to out of editorial. I've decided I don't like that anymore. I'm going to change it to grid. I like the uniformity of that there. All right, let's go and add a few more things in here. So I'm going to add an icon. Let's see what that one looks like. If we add the icon, it's got one there. That's pretty nice. And then if we wanted to add our own icon, we could do the same here. I don't think I'll see what an alpaca looks like there. Yeah, looks pretty good. So you can see really customize this however you want. Let's see what else we've got in there. Press plus. Icon, logo, images, text, video. It's got everything here. So all the blocks that you can find in pretty much every other section is directly in here. And there's even an ability to generate one. You know what? I'm going to do something here. This wasn't in my video plan, but I'm going to do it anyway. Create a small text box that we can add an icon to. So what I'm wanting it to make here is a little icon with the text next to it. So we saw the icon there a second ago, but it didn't have any text next to it. But imagine we could put an icon with some text. This is where the AI is really good because you just think of something and we just get it to make it. All right, now I want to know how those AI sort of changes have gone. We're going to go back to our homepage and we can see the comparison chart here. All right, let's see. It looks like we can edit these now. Let's have a look. Milk comparison chart. Yeah, goat milk, cow milk. All right, firstly, we asked it to put the icons in here. So let's click here, select. So I can choose this one. Let's have a look. Awesome, I can put a little icon in here. That is great. All right, that's cool. Let's have a look what else we can do. Yeah, and we can edit these values. So make me 999. That's awesome. Can I put a little percent icon in there? Yeah. So now it's done what I've said. It's added the icons and it's allowed me to put numbers in there. That is pretty awesome. Let's go and have I'll just click save there. Let's go and have a look at the product one. We'll click products. We're going to click default product and we're going to see whether it did. Oh, actually it was in collection. Sorry, collections. And we go default collection. And it was this product card here. All right, here you go. Great. This is a text box with an icon, perfect for highlighting important information. All right, this is great. So what we could do is something like buy two for $200. Okay. And says show icon. And the cool thing in here, this is amazing actually. We can actually choose a different icon in here. So let's do a gift. Look at that. Oh my God, this is so good. And we can even change the color of the icon. Maybe we'll make it, it's a bit bright. Make it black. We can make it blue. This is so good. So that was built. So that little section was built with AI. Now in the past, I used to have to pay a developer hundreds of dollars to go and put that in there for me, and they'd hard code it and I could never change it. But now this is just wild. I can't believe it's done that. That's really, really cool. Later in the video, I'll show you how to apply certain customizations to different collections so that you can have different layouts to different pages. Okay. But now let's go into the product pages. In order to do that, we're going to select the template from here. We're going to go to products and we're going to choose default product. Now, as you probably guessed it, this works exactly the same. The header and the announcement bar goes to this page. The only difference we have now is this template section here. Footer and everything remains exactly the same. So we would do the exact same thing. So let's have a look at what we can edit here. If we click product media, we can see that that is this section here that lays it out. So let's hover on the right-hand side and see which way it is. So right now it's set up as a grid. We've only got one image, so it's a bit hard to demonstrate this one. It's going to be a little bit hard to do. So what we can actually do is we can click change here and we can look at another product. Now I'm going to see if I've got multiple images on this product here. Actually, I don't think I've got a product with multiple images. I might just check to see where there's another product with an image on it, another image on it. Let's have a look. All right. Now, just to be sure that this is working correctly, I'm going to pop back to my product. I'm going to pop into the alpaca milk. We can see it only has one image. I'm going to add another one in there. I'm just going to double up and put some of these dodgy images in here. Great. Now, from a conversion perspective, you should have at least 5 images across every single product. Now, this is just a demo store, which is why I don't have it. But if you're doing this, you need to have at least 5 images. So front, back, side, left, right, detail shots, as many images as you humanly can. Okay, so let's go back to the theme. I'm just going to have a quick look here. We're going to change that back to the alpaca milk, and we should be able to see multiple images. Awesome, great. So now if we click this in here, we can see the product media is a grid style as opposed to carousel. I personally like carousel, so that way on mobile, people can just swipe through the images. Let's have a look at what some other settings are here. So the icons are arrows. You can have these change whatever you want. We can do whatever we want on this one here. So it's pretty cool. Portrait ratio. We can pretty much do all the settings that we want. Grid looks a little bit different. Okay, cool. So if we go through the details here, we can see the layouts in here, and it operates pretty much exactly the same. We can just drag things in and out. All right, so you can move everything around, you can add the blocks in, you can do everything that we've learned in the other parts of the section. So to add a block, we would click in here. We can generate an AI block. We can choose other items here. We can add in the accordions. Now, I might do the accordions because I know that that's a question that comes up a lot with people in my Ecom Academy. So I'm going to click in here. I'm going to click the plus here. I'm going to choose an accordion. Sometimes people call these drop downs, and we're going to use this accordion, and we can see that this does these sort of little boxes that pop in and out. Okay, so this is an accordion row if you wanted to do things like that. So you can see it's actually automatically populated some stuff in here, such as return policy, shipping, manufacturing, etc. So each one you click in, you can change that here, and so on and so on. So that's how you'd put in an accordion row. All right, let's go through and add in some more details. So we've got frequently asked questions already here. I've already put them in the past. I did play around this once before. Customer reviews is an app widget, so we can install those. I might just quickly show you about app widgets. So an app widget is a widget that has been inserted into your theme from an app you might have installed. So the one I'm going to show you now is from Judge Me. It's a reviews app. And what it does is it shows any reviews on your page that have come from that app. Now you can turn widgets off and on, and you can move them around a theme. This isn't just a Horizon. We can do it in any sort of theme. And I'll show you how they work. So if we go back to my store here and we go to add in a section, we can see this section up here, which is called apps. In there, you can start to see all the things that have come from the app, and you can see the icon of the app on the left-hand side. Now, we've only got this app in there and some sort of other subscription apps in there, but what we could do is if we click review widget and we scroll down to this section here, we can now see, I've added it twice now, but we can now see we've got the customer reviews in there. So that adds that directly into that section of the theme there. So this is pretty much the way you would edit a sort of a product template. And, you've got your images, we can adjust that. We can add in, these are my star ratings widgets. This is a little block we've added in. So we press the little plus here. We can do the same thing, click apps, and we can see little widgets that go under the blocks. And we can pretty much go through and change everything we want. All right. So as I said before, you can't break anything. So use this as a way to sort of play around, see what works, click things in and out, undo if you need to, but really have a good play around with this here. Any questions you're having about this, by the way, feel free to ask in the comments. I'm going to be monitoring these all the time, and I'm more than happy to answer any questions that you have. All right, so we now have done a few things. We've done our homepage, we've done our product pages, we've done our collection pages. I'm going to take you through the next part, which is pages. So if you think about Shopify, it's basically a place to sell products, but there's other pages that go around, and that's like your About Us pages, it's your blog pages, it's your Contact Us, all those sorts of things. So we can make changes to those if we like. So let's choose default page, and I'll just go wide here. This works exactly the same as any other sort of template. We've got the template section here, and we can go in and we can add things to the page. So we click add section and we go into sections. We can add anything in here. So let's just say we want to create an about us, a little about us section at the bottom. We'd go in here, we'd click add section, and we'd find one that matches what we want to do. So I reckon it's going to be one of these editorial ones. I reckon this is the one here. Okay. So let's just say I want to do this. We can see at the bottom, it's added this in here. So in here, we would have something like about the founder, and then you'd write some information in here. Now this background isn't that great. So if you remember how we do this, we check to see which scheme we're using. So we can actually go in here and let's change it to a more standard scheme. That looks a bit better. Okay. We can click in here and we can upload an image, or you know what, can we upload a video? I don't think I've got any videos in here. Let's have a look. I don't have any videos, so don't worry about that, but you could absolutely upload a video directly in here. So I'm going to choose an image, I'm going to click select, and let's just for this video, I'm going to choose this one here, click done. Now, ideally, you'd want to put an image of yourself in here, but that basically isn't about us. You know, maybe that is me snowboarding. It's not, but you know, maybe people could think it is. Now, I don't really want this button here, so what do? We exit out. So I think you're getting it right. Every sort of template is pretty much the same. We can customize it with sections and blocks, now create AI blocks. But the problem is if we're customizing the collection page and the product page and these pages, and we make the changes, it's going to apply to every single product or collection on the store. Now, this is where we can create custom templates. I want to show you how to create custom templates now. So if you remember, when we're clicking up here, everything that we click on says the word default, okay? So if we go to products, we've got default product. We've got these other ones, which I'll show you in a second. We've got collections. We've got default collection. We've got pages. We've got default page. That means that every change we make applies to everything that has that template associated with it, which is straight out of the box, it's every page. We need to fix that. So what we can actually do is we can create specific templates that we can apply to specific things. So as an example, let's just say we go back to that collection that we made. We go to default collection, and we can see that this has this snowpacker section up here. What I'm going to do, just for the demonstration, I'm going to click a block. I'm going to add a heading in here. And what we'll do is we'll call this the best alpaca products in the world. Okay. And I will spell it right. So the best alpaca products in the world. Now, if I click save to this, and let's just go and preview this theme. I'm going to click here and I'm going to click view. And now I've applied this change to all collections, right? So I'm now looking at a collection, which is this automated collection. The problem is it says the best alpaca products in the world, but we're now seeing this one here. Okay. We're seeing it applied to everything, right? These are not alpaca products, right? I'll show you what I mean. If we pop over here, if we pop over to our collections, we've got other collections like a snowboard range and the alpaca range. Let's just say I want to preview the snowboard range. What we can see is that the snowboard range has this alpaca thing at the top. And the same applies if we preview the collection from here. Let's click view and we have a look at this collection. We can see that it has this alpaca messaging at the top, which is not what we want to see. We'd love to see some snowboard messaging. So let me show you how we would do that. If I pop back to the theme customizer, I'm going to click collections and I'm going to click create template. I'm going to call this snowboard. And we're going to base it on the one we've already done. Just create template. And we can now say we're using this snowboard template. So instead of this, we're going to change the best snowboards in the world. And I'm going to get rid of this logo because I don't think it makes sense to have a picture of an alpaca. And we're going to remove this. And you know what? Actually, I'm going to change this all together. I'm going to get rid of this and I'm going to add a new section in here. I'm going to click a section. I'm going to do an editorial of the jumbo text and let's add in a different image in here. Let's add this same sort of, we'll add this one. Instead of up the ante, up the snow. Cool. Looks pretty good. Great. So now we can see we've created this snowboard template. We've got this snowboard thing here. Now we're seeing this here because we're previewing this range. So let me just change that range to snowboard. Remember, this is just a preview, so it's not actually affecting anything. Just showing us what it would look like with this range. Okay, so snowboard range, up the snow, and we can see that. All right, so we've created this snowboard one here. But if we go back and look at the snowboard range, it's still applying this snowpacker one. Okay, so what we need to do is we're going to go back to our Shopify store. We're going to click products and then the collections. And we're going to choose the collection we want to assign this template to. So click snowboard range. Then over on the right-hand side, you've got theme template here. We're going to click that and then we're going to click snowboard. So that's now applying this template to this collection only. So let's click save. And we're going to pop in here. It might take a second. We're going to refresh. And we're going to click refresh again. And we can see it has been updated now. So the snowboard range now has this up the snow with this image here. Scroll down, we can even see this nice buy 2 for 200 thing there. Great, so that applies to the snowboard range. But what about the alpaca range? Let's go back. Double check our collections. What we can see in the alpaca range, it's applied to the default collection. So let's view that one. And we can see that's all set up there, okay? So we can create custom templates for collections, for product pages, for absolutely everything. And you can really customize the store as much as you want. Now to do this to product pages is pretty much the same. Let me show you. We head back here, we go to a product, and on the product, we can see that we have these templates. Now this is one I've done before. We can see I've got an alpaca cheese and alpaca milk in here, right? So let me go to one of those products, go to alpaca cheese. And we've chosen that template alpaca cheese, and I'll click preview on that one. And we can see that this has information about alpaca cheese, okay? And if we look in our theme customizer, we can go to products, we can see I've got alpaca cheese, and I've edited that directly in there. Okay, so you can sort of see how powerful that is. It means that you can create customized theme templates for collections, for products, for pages, for pretty much everything. You can create different color schemes. You can use AI to build blocks. You can pretty much do everything. We've gone through how to customize that Horizon theme. If you have any questions or something's just not working right for you, definitely use the comments down below. I'll be monitoring those, as I said, and giving you support on this theme. But if you were interested in learning more about Shopify and how to grow, I do run a company called the E-commerce Academy, where we run tutorials like this. We train people on how to run and set up their Shopify stores, how to grow, how to do everything to run a really successful online business. So I've put a link down below if you want to join us in the E-commerce Academy. We love teaching people this stuff here. However, if you just want to binge my free content, make sure you subscribe to this channel or check out some of these videos, because these are going to be some great tutorials. They're going to help you learn how to take your Shopify store to the next level.